It had been 9 long months. 9 months since that Sunday morning when the name Donnie Swaggart rolled off Bishop Bobby Hilton's tongue with a mixture of disbelief and righteous indignation. 9 months since the video clip of Hilton's sermon, his voice raised, his finger stabbing the air, had ricocheted across church Facebook groups, pastor WhatsApp threads, and Christian YouTube commentary channels. The words he had spoken back then were seared into the memory of anyone who followed the saga. Donnie, Hilton had said, pausing for dramatic effect. If you don't know the truth, go ask your father. At the time, it was a bombshell. In the highly charged and competitive world of American Pentecostal televangelism, calling out another preacher by name was already risky. But to hit them with a line like that, a thinly veiled dig at the Swaggart family's decades-old scandals, was nothing short of nuclear. Back then, Donnie's offense had been his own mouth. On his Sun Life Broadcasting Network program, he had launched into one of his fiery monologues. The kind where his voice climbed with every sentence, his eyes narrowed, and his hands slapped the pulpit for emphasis. Somewhere in the middle of his sermon, his words had turned personal, and according to Hilton, they had crossed a line. The exact phrase? Church gossip had it memorized. Donnie had allegedly said something that Hilton interpreted as an insult toward a fellow pastor's wife, accusing her of being more into fashion shows than altar calls. It wasn't naming names, but everyone in Hilton's circle believed it was aimed at a woman in his congregation. Hilton, a respected Cincinnati pastor with decades in ministry, wasn't the type to stay quiet. Within days, his Sunday livestream featured a fiery rebuttal. He didn't mince words. He accused Donnie of spouting off without facts and told him in front of thousands of viewers, if you want the truth, Donnie, go ask your father, and then come back and tell the people what really happened. It was one of those moments you could feel in your bones, a line that would stick. The clip went viral in ministry circles. Younger pastors chuckled at the sheer audacity. Older pastors clucked their tongues, warning that this isn't how we handle disagreements. But the damage was done. For weeks, Donnie was the unspoken headline. His camp stayed quiet, at least publicly. Sun Life avoided mentioning Hilton by name. Donnie himself simply carried on, preaching as if nothing had happened. Although sharp-eyed viewers noticed he was just a little quicker to move past certain controversial topics. Months rolled by. The Hilton-Swaggart tension cooled into an uneasy truce, at least on the surface. The online chatter died down. New controversies in other ministries took center stage. And for many it seemed like this little feud would fade into the background, filed away with dozens of other preachers' spats that never really resolved. But then, this week, Bishop Bobby Hilton spoke up again. It happened during a Q&A session at a regional church conference. The topic wasn't even Donnie, it was about accountability among ministers. Hilton, relaxed and smiling, was answering questions when someone asked about dealing with public criticism from other preachers. Hilton chuckled, leaned into the mic and said, well, I've had my fair share of people saying wild things. 9 months ago, a certain someone, I won't name names, decided to run its mouth. I gave him some advice back then. I said, go ask your father, and I still stand by it. Sometimes the answers you need aren't in your mouth, they're in your family history. The crowd laughed. Cameras caught Hilton's smile, a knowing smile, the kind of smile that said, yes, I know you know who I'm talking about. What Hilton probably didn't expect was that Donnie Swaggart was watching. According to a Sun Life insider who spoke anonymously, Donnie was in his office when a staff member showed him the clip. The moment Hilton's words replayed, that subtle jab about family history, Donnie's expression reportedly hardened. This time, he wasn't going to let it slide. 2 days later, during the taping of his midweek sermon, Donnie was in full form. The message was titled Standing Against the Spirit of Offense. His voice was steady, but his eyes burned with that unmistakable Swaggart fire. For most of the sermon, he spoke about forgiveness, the dangers of bitterness, and the importance of truth. And then, without warning, he pivoted. Now, he said, resting his hand on the pulpit, I've been hearing some folks are still bringing up things from 9 months ago, still repeating themselves like a broken record, and they think they're clever, dropping little hints, little inside jokes about my family. He paused. The camera zoomed in. I've got something to say about that. If you've got a question for me, don't tell me to go ask my father. His tone shifted from controlled preacher to something sharper, almost biting. No, he said, leaning forward. You, go ask your mom. The air in the studio was electric. Even without knowing the full backstory, viewers could feel it. This was not a random comment. This was a direct, public, gloves-off reply to Bobby Hilton. Within hours, clips of the moment hit YouTube. Titles screamed, Donnie Swaggart goes for the jugular. Go ask your mom. Preacher clapback of the year. Swaggart versus Hilton. Round 2 gets personal. The reactions were instant and polarized. Supporters of Donnie flooded the comments. "That's right, Pastor Donnie. Don't let them disrespect your family. Hilton had it coming. 9 months is a long time to keep poking someone. Finally, some fire. Love it when pastors speak the truth without sugarcoating." But critics were equally loud. "This is exactly what's wrong with modern ministry. Petty insults instead of biblical dialogue. Go ask your mom, really. This is playground-level immaturity. How can either of them claim to be spiritual leaders with this kind of behavior?" Christian bloggers pounced on the story. Some framed it as a battle of egos. Others suggested there were deeper layers, old tensions between the Hilton and Swaggart camps, disagreements over doctrine, or even personal slights from years ago. One particularly explosive blog claimed that Donnie's "Go Ask Your Mom" wasn't just a throwaway line. It was a reference to a long-rumored personal scandal involving Hilton's family, something insiders had whispered about for years but never confirmed. Whether true or not, the speculation poured gasoline on the fire. Hilton's supporters demanded an apology. Donnie's loyalists doubled down, arguing that Hilton had thrown the first stone 9 months ago and should expect a rock or two in return. By the weekend, both men's names were trending in Christian social media circles. Memes popped up, one showing a split screen of Hilton saying, "Go ask your father," and Donnie replying, "Go ask your mom," complete with WWE fight bells in the background. Behind the scenes, sources claimed that mutual acquaintances in ministry were scrambling to mediate before things spiraled further. "This could get ugly," one pastor said privately. "We're talking about two high-profile preachers with big platforms, both of them too proud to back down. And in this age of live streams and viral clips, every word they say can travel around the world in minutes." Meanwhile, Sun Life insiders reported that Donnie had no plans to retract his comment. He feels like Hilton poked at him twice, once 9 months ago, and now again, one staffer said. Donnie's attitude is, "If you don't want smoke, don't start a fire." Hilton, for his part, seemed amused in his own public statement. Speaking to a local Cincinnati radio host, he laughed and said, "I guess we're even now." But he also hinted that truth has a way of coming out, a cryptic remark that some interpret as a warning that he might share more details about the original dispute. For many onlookers, the feud has become less about the initial offense and more about the theater of it all. Two preachers in a public war of words, each delivering their lines with dramatic timing, each feeding the crowd's appetite for conflict. The question now is whether this exchange will finally put the matter to rest, or set the stage for round 3. Because in the world of church politics, grudges have a long shelf life, and public jabs like these can resurface years later. One thing is certain, both Hilton and Donnie have shown they're willing to hit back when provoked, and in an era where every live stream can be clipped, shared, and memed within minutes, their feud isn't just a local church matter, it's viral entertainment for a watching. And as one commentator put it, "If this is what the pastors are saying from the pulpit, I can only imagine what they're saying in private." The dust from Donnie Swaggart's pulpit